Okay, so I'm making this tutorial to help you get through the online lab and the online quiz. So what you're looking at here is the home page for our class, the 101 class, the one you've been to before, so it should look the same. And what you're going to do is go to modules. So this is where all the content's going to be. So we're going to go to modules. What you should see right now is module 11. And so in this module 11, there's a whole bunch of things that you're going to have to do. You'll have 1 week to complete them. There are other modules that will unlock, so right now you can't access them. These are the modules that you're going to do once we get back to school on April 6th. This module here is a practice module. For the next 2 weeks, I want you guys to work your way through this module, figure out what's going on, see if you have any issues. But how this module is structured should be the same for all the modules we're going to do for the last 4 weeks of class. So that's why it's a practice, so you can get a feel for it. Any problems or issues you run into, we can address in the next 2 weeks, so that when we do start back, you're ready to go. This this little tutorial is going to focus just on the lab. So here's the lecture portion. You'll have 4 things to complete for that. Here's the lab portion. You will have the lab, and then you will have the quiz. So you can access it by just going to this link here. This is just a quick little description of how the lab will work. Then when you click next, it will take you to a link right here. This is open a new window, and you will perform all of the activity in this new tab. It'll be basically just a web page. So for this topic, and once again, remember this is practice, this lab is going to cover the United States, so United States geology. So every lab is going to look like this. It's going to be structured this way. It's going to have a little intro of what you're going to do. And at the very top here is where you're going to start your lesson. So you can read through the content here and then hit start lesson. These are designed to be very similar to your lab books. Okay, so the structure is you can see up here, you have different parts to complete. There's a score. There are 50 points to earn here. Now, I know it says that it's worth 10 points is how we're going to score it or weight it. But for the lab itself, you're going to have 50 questions. You're going to have to go through and answer those. And then you can submit that for points and get a score for the lab. So, same thing. It's just kind of an intro, tell you what you're going to do. You go to next here. You want to read through the labs. So the labs are structured this way. But there's some content you may have to read depending on the lab that we do. Just like your lab book, you'll read through the content here and understand what's going on. For this particular one, it's asking you to look at a PDF, so a document that has a bunch of information in it about what? The physiographic regions of the United States. Okay, so you're going to have to click and download this. This should open in a brand new window, and then you get this little page here, which I'm sorry is not what we want. We're just kidding. We want to go down to here. So this is a way you could click that link, and it's got some information about the general idea of the physiographic provinces in America or the USA. But if I was reading right, like you guys should be doing, it tells you that to use this pamphlet to answer the questions 1 through 15. So what we're going to do is click on that one. There, that looks better. And it's opening a PDF in a new tab. And so I know it says there's 18 pages, seems like a lot, but remember a lot of it is just this intro and who wrote it and all that kind of stuff. You'll want to look through it, read some stuff, but be aware, these are the questions that you're going to answer. So you can check them out before you answer them. Like the first one, it says, this is the first question. How many physiographic provinces are listed on page 10, right? And so what we can do is that we want to hint in figure 1, the numbers represent the provinces. Okay, that could be helpful, but it says go to page 10. I'm going to go to page 10. So as I cruise up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I see a list of all the provinces in the United States. And each number is a province. 1, 2, 3, okay, 7, 8, 20. Oh, there's a lot. There's maybe 25 provinces. I go back to and I'm just clicking tabs at the top of my browser here to move between the document and back to the quiz here. So more than 20. I like that answer. I click check answer. I got it right. I earned a point. Over here, you can see if I close this out, you've earned 1 out of 50. Yay! And so then you're just going to continue. You have another question. What physiographic province is located along both the Atlantic and Gulf Coast? I want a hint. See figure 1 and okay, figure 1 sounds like it could be useful, so I'm going to go to my tab and click back to the document and go down here to the figures. And I'm going to look through the figures and oh, there's figure 1 right there. And so the Gulf Coast is here, the East Coast is here. It looks like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm thinking it must be 3. So what is 3? Well, in that list of documents or list of provinces up on page 10, I look for 3. Where's 3? Coastal Plain. Let me go back to part A. Look, Coastal Plain. Check my answer. Yay, I got that right. So this is how you're going to work your way through the lab. For this part, in this particular lab, the first 15 questions are all related to that USGS document that we were just jumping back and forth to. So you'll go through those, and if you want to skip ones and do things, perfect. You're going through that, and then you have some more stuff to do. Because we're looking at particular areas of the U.S., we have a few examples for you, and there's a couple maps that represent different provinces. For this part, the mountain geology, we want you to use this document, and it is actually a map of that area. So if we click it, it opens a map. Now I'm in a PDF viewer here on my browser, and I have the ability to zoom in and zoom out. So we move around in our little map, right, by this. And if I want to make it bigger because I can't read it, it's so tiny, I'm going to click zoom, 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 zoom. And now I can start to read some of this stuff. And then I'm just using the tabs on, or the bars on the side of my browser to scroll up and down. I can also use my mouse. I have a scroll bar to scroll up and down. We can look at the legend here, right? And so then we can come over here and look at the map. And so you go back to your questions and you say, okay, what's the first question? The ratio scale. Oh yeah, you guys love this part. So what is it? Well, I'm going to go up to my tab here, to my map, and I'm going to look around. And so we should remember that the scale is at the very bottom of the map. And so if we look for that, it is at the bottom. But unfortunately, the way that I have this video going, you can't see that. Okay, so it is 1 to 250,000. You'll come back and choose that. Say, check my answer. We're excited about that. Let me go back to one that you might be able to find here. So most of the map is covered by units of what age? Let's go to the map. And we're going to go over to our key. So what age? So we've got Pennsylvanian, Mississippian, Devonian, Ordovician. So what age are those associated with? The Cenozoic, Mesozoic, Paleozoic, or Proterozoic? Look, you guys have your lab books. In the very back, there is that image that has a geologic time scale. You can use that. And so if I look at all those, all those names I just read off fall into the Paleozoic. We check that. Yay, we got that right. Okay, and so you're going to cruise through these questions that ask about that particular map. Next, we're going to look at a different part of the USA. This is the coastal plain geology. Once again, we'll click here and download the map or pop it up in a new tab in your browser window. You'll answer the questions for those. When you're done with that, you're going to hit next, and you're going to come to the third map we want you to look at. Some national parks. This happens to be Yellowstone. You'll click here. The PDF will open in my browser window. I'll answer those questions until I'm finally done. Hallelujah. Now remember, in-person labs are scheduled for 2.5 hours, so this isn't something that you should be able to do in 5 minutes. It is trying to replicate your lab, which, like I said, is a 2.5 hour endeavor. And so it will take some time to move through this. You'll have an entire week to complete this. So the content that I'm offering to you will begin on Mondays. And for MCC officially, that's April 6th. And then you will have up until that Sunday night at midnight to complete all of the content in the module. Here we're just going over the lab portion. What you'll do when you're done. Now, if I didn't mention this, when you answer a question, if you get it wrong, you cannot repeat that question. You'll just close out the little pop-up window and continue. When you're done, you'll have a final score in the upper right here. What you'll want to do is type your name here and hit email score, and I will see your score from this attempt on the lab. Now look, if you are not happy about your score, you can retake this lab. And you can retake this lab as many times as you want until you get a score that you're happy with. How you will do that is you come up to the top and close the tab, and then go back to this page here. You click the link again, it'll open a new tab, and you can run your way through the lab a second time. If after that you're still not happy, you can keep retaking, and I will only keep the highest score for the lab. And once again, you will have that whole week to do it. For this portion, remember, this is a test. It's trying to give you I shouldn't use the word test. It's a practice so that you can kind of see what's coming. So for the next 2 weeks, you can play with this, get used to it, understand it. So when we do start officially doing labs online that actually count toward your grade, you'll know what you need to do. Now, when you're happy with the lab, you've taken all the attempts that you want and you feel good, you are going to take a quiz based on that content, just like we were doing in person. Now here, remember, you have only one attempt to do it. So it's not like the lab, you can't just keep taking it over. So the idea is that you learn something, you remember something from the lab, and you take the quiz. And in the quiz, it's all multiple choice questions. You will have 20 minutes to do it. It is timed, and you will just choose the correct answer like you've done for all online quizzes that you've taken. You'll go through, answer questions until you've answered them all. At the very bottom is the submit button. Once you hit submit, that score will be recorded. And this is how we're going to do online labs, or our labs, for the next 4 weeks when we go back to school. Okay, so as you're moving through these, any questions you have, throw them my way. You have issues with, technology or connecting or things like that, throw them my way. But hopefully, this will be a good time for us to get all the bugs out in the next 2 weeks. So this will not count toward your score and your grade in your class. This is just a practice. I want you to move through this and get used to this format so that when we start, we'll be ready to go. Okay, good luck.